This is IGN. Bland and disappointing proof that not every dog shaped like Cerberus can bark like it. This is your IGN review of Yasha, Legends of the Demon Blade by Jarrett Green. Repetition is part of the process when it comes to a certain type of action roguelike. That's not inherently a bad thing, but Yasha, Legends of the Demon Blade commits the cardinal sin of not bolstering the droll byproduct of doing the same thing over and over again with compelling meta progression, or hiding it under an interesting story delivered by characters you can't wait to hear from. Instead, its few attempts at drama and humor miss more than hit, and its decent combat and interesting weapons are let down by room after room of weak monsters and weaker level design. The Legends part of the title is literal, with the story of Yasha told and retold across 3 campaigns with different playable protagonists. Each tale remixes the roles of some key characters, almost akin to a theater troupe that puts on multiple shows with the same small cast. Old Man Gango goes from village elder to adoptive father to benevolent king across the 3 stories, for example. This idea is maybe the most interesting thing about these stories, though. They are otherwise filled to the brim with some well-worn tropes like the chosen one whose past is shrouded in mystery, or the good soldier just looking to uphold the honor of their patron in the face of certain annihilation. The problem isn't simply that they aren't super original. Reused structures can still make for entertaining fiction. It's that all 3 are packed with just as much or more banal writing as they are with any compelling dialogue. Underwhelming moments of self-reflection and bad attempts at humor quickly overstay their welcome in a trio of tales that try and fail to be moving and meaningful. The structure of Yasha doesn't help deliver the story very well either. It attempts the Hades-like approach of weaving conversations between boss fights at the end of each dungeon run's 3 stages, but produces neither memorable moments between the chosen characters and their enemies, nor good or even coherent reasons to continue down the path. Finishing a run changes the chapter, and everything is done all over again with almost no changes to the structure. In between trips through the gauntlet, the village full of people you are supposedly fighting to protect feature a good amount of townsfolk to talk to, and not a single one with anything interesting to say. The rinse and repeat nature of it all does the already mid-story no favors. Though Yasha is pretty easy, it can still be fun thanks to the snappy combat and how different each of the 3 playable characters control compared to one another. Every fighter combines light and heavy attacks to vanquish foes, while using dashes and parries to stay alive. Successful ones can be turned into big damage counterattacks. Shigure's sword swinging is capable of a balance between aggressive and defensive strategies that rely on those counters, which feels very different from Sarah's all-in dual-wielding style that's all about overwhelming enemies with naturally empowered dash attacks, or Taketora's patient range strategy of creating distance and clobbering enemies from afar, while also having strong melee options to make space if needed. It's all pretty basic, but it's crisp and crunchy, like a good Oni-flavored potato chip. The weapon selection is plentiful at around 7 options per character, of which you can take any 2 on a trip through the dungeon. They're all pretty different from one another, with swords that light enemies on fire or get stronger every time you use certain types of attacks. But across characters, you'll start to notice they don't deviate much. For example, all 3 warriors have a version of that fire weapon or that one that gets stronger. And when most enemies are so easy that they don't require much strategy to beat, there wasn't much encouragement to experiment with the more interesting weapons anyway, like a fun-looking bow that can mark enemies and make every subsequent shot home in on them. The only real randomness in Yasha comes in the various soul orb buffs you can earn for your weapons after each room of enemies that empower and alter their abilities, as well as amulets that increase your stats that you can buy from a shopkeeper or loot from enemies. The former is where almost all my brain power was spent, trying to guess how a new ability might work in tandem with ones I already have, or if it's good enough to abandon my original plan entirely for. I spent the majority of my runs across all 3 warriors focusing on one specific build simply to defeat the frustrating power spike of the last boss, since many of these abilities function similarly between weapons in each character's arsenal. As the saying goes, if it's broken, don't fix it. Yasha Legends of the Demon Blade can be fun for a bit, but with repetitive levels that lack a significant challenge from most of the 3 campaigns, it doesn't stay that way for long. Though its quick and basic combat is solid, the potential of its diverse weapon selection to bring variety and nuance to battle is undermined by how easy so much of it is without really investing in them at all. Not to mention, you'll see all there is to see, enemy and level wise, by the end of the first chapter of the first character you choose. And when its stories fail to do much more than provide a flimsy bridge to the next group of baddies to kill, you might be convinced pretty quickly to let Sleeping Legends lie. Yasha Legends of the Demon Blade's IGN score? 5 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest updates on Yasha Legends of the Demon Blade, visit us at IGN.com.